is Decadent Diva, but I hope the quality is at least decent enough for the content to come out pretty well. This is not going to be a long video at all. You already know the spiel. When I say that, that means I'm about to talk about something deep. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about this idea of change. Do you guys believe that someone can change, that a situation can change? And I was thinking about this because I was having a conversation earlier today, and you know, someone asked me if, you know, I would like to move out, you know, side of where I move right now, where I am right now, and asked me about my daughter, and, you know, how does she like, you know, living where I'm at, and, you know, things of that nature. And it just really started me to thinking, like, my daughter has only known one place. And my motto has always been to explore the world and allow her to explore the world through experience, so that when she gets older, it's anything that she does is just an extension of what she's already learned. And that's the same way I feel about myself. But so this idea of change, the reason why I brought that up is because I thought, she's only been in this one spot. Like, how would it, you know, how would it be for her to change? And how would it be for me to change? And I'm like, I think about my roots here, and my family's here, you know, my job is here, you know, my home is here. So many things, friends, just so many different avenues that I'm like, how would I change? How would I go about changing what I have only known since I've been here? And my whole idea with this is that where you stay at, and, you know, where you're born and raised, that is not necessarily where you're supposed to end, and that's not the end to your story. Your parents decided to come here because of whatever reasons they decided that this is where they were going to be. So you as a person, you as a separate person, someone that is different, I believe you should always, you know, look at your situation from the eyes of, is this the most that I could be doing with my life? Am I getting the most out of life? Am I optimizing my resources for my life right now? And then I also want to think about it from another perspective. When you think about change, it's so uncomfortable. If you change something, like even if you just change your shirt, like you change the way your shirt is positioned, or me, I changed my glasses a little bit and they might slide or something, like the littlest changes can really make you uncomfortable. But sometimes you might notice that when you know, like for me, when I'm getting dressed, I might, you know, tug my shirt down a little bit, or put it a little bit to the side, or wherever I'm gonna put it, and I'm positioning it to see, you know, where I like it. And at first, change is just, it's really uncomfortable. Like, man, I don't really like the way this fits. And then I like move it over a little bit, and I'm like, this is really pretty. And then I learn a different way of wearing my clothes. Like, that's just a smaller example for life. If you think about how many times you have changed, and that change was uncomfortable at first, but then it became the norm. If you think about that, then you start to realize, wow, like I really have been living inside of, you know, this box, this circle, and I haven't really allowed myself to test myself as to what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, you know, what I thrive in, what particular environments I thrive in. And so I believe change is the biggest teacher of all times. Change and experience, I think those are hand in hand. Because when you think about it, when you're changing something, like some of the biggest inventors, they changed something about themselves, and something about themselves or their invention or any of those things. And when they were doing that, they realized this is so uncomfortable. But then it was in those moments that the most genius inventions come about, because then you're like, whoa, I moved this over to the left a little bit, or I tried this a little bit different, and boom, we got light, or boom, we have, you know, Madam C.J. Walker, who, you know, created the, you know, the hot comb and these different things. I'm sure in her mind, she was thinking, I want to change my situation. I want my situation to be different from the way that it is right now. But what can I do to optimize the situation so that I can go to the next level? And so that's exactly that's exactly what, you know, has happened to me. Because when I first started college, you know, I'm coming from a very, very structured home. Everything was structured. Everything had its time. Everything had its place. Like, it's just very structured. To go into college where it was just such a big and drastic difference. It's like being inside of this hole in this, you know, box, and then being let out and you're just like looking at everything, and everything is just so amazing. Like how little kids are just like, everything is amazing to them because it's the first time that they're looking at it. That's how I was. And then I just started realizing like change is multifaceted. There's so many different layers to changing. And so I used to, if I saw somebody acting a certain type of way, I'm like, oh, she's changing, or she changing, da 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 da, or whatever. She changed, you know, years down the line. And you think, well, would you want that person to stay the same? Would you want to stay the same? Have you stayed the same? When you think about it, there are little bits and big bits of your personality that has changed for the good and for the bad. And more than likely, you want to, for me, I don't want to stay stagnant. At the end of the year, I'm looking like, what did I do differently? What did I do that was, you know, that was helpful? And this part, it's a little bit personal, but I just really want to talk about change within the last couple of months for me. I lost my mother in September, and it was something that I, you know, had expected to happen, but I just believed that there was a miracle and that something was going to happen and something was going to change, and that things were just going to work out, and that God was going to allow her to be here. And it was when I got the call that, you know, she had passed, and, you know, her heart had stopped, and the doctors tried everything and they couldn't resuscitate her, you know. It's when I really started changing. And I started looking at my life, and I just started thinking, well, we are born and then we die. And I just, you know, went to such a dark place, such a dark place. So what's the use of me even doing all this if one day I'm going to die, and this, that, and the other, and angry, just my mom is gone. But in the midst of that uncomfortability of that anxiety and the depression and not being able to get up and not really wanting to take care of myself, because yes, honestly, I did not want to take care of myself. In the midst of that, I started realizing, Pauline, there are so many great things inside of yourself that you didn't even realize. You didn't even tap into it. And so it's still, while every day is still a challenge, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely over it. That was my mom. But I felt like, in a sense, she was giving me a sense of purpose, a sense of humility, and I was changing within myself. I was changing inside, but it was such an uncomfortable change that I didn't even realize it. I felt like I was moving literally just inches, like baby steps. And one day I woke up and I'm just like, something has got to change. Something has to change. This is not the way I want to teach my own daughter to live. You know, just to exist. I don't want to teach her that type of life. I want to teach her to live. I want to teach her to breathe in different air from different places and eat different foods and just be so excited about life and cherish so many different moments that, you know, it's just the norm. And so I realized you have to be that person that's going to invoke that change. You have to be willing and honest with yourself. And that's another piece of things. Like, if you're not honest with yourself about yourself, there's nobody in this world that you're going to ever be able to take advice from. Because at the end of the day, even when you're like having a conversation and somebody's telling you about yourself, and you know deep down inside this is how you are, even if you don't admit it in that moment, admit it to yourself. You owe yourself. You're worth it. You are worth it enough to tell yourself the truth. And once you tell yourself the truth, that's when you are able to truly, truly have the biggest change that you could possibly do. Because when you think about it, if you're not even willing to accept the fact that you need to change, or that that change needs to happen, you're going to be stagnant and you're not going to grow. And so these last couple of months, I have just been so driven and so ambitious, but in such a different way, not just in a book smart way, but in a way that I want to study and dissect myself and become the best version of myself. And so I would just encourage everyone and each and every person that is watching this, if you're going through a hard season or a loss or a happy season or any type of season where you are changing, I want you to truly embrace that process. I saw something the other day and it talked about, yes, we love the results, but you also need to fall in love with the process, because by falling in love with the process, when the results come, it means so much more. And so that is just something that, and it's like I'm kind of like shaking when I'm talking about this, because every day is a battle. Some days I'm good, some days I'm happy, sometimes I'm really down. But one thing that stays stagnant, or that, not even stagnant, don't like that word, but one thing that stays the same is my love and my passion for wanting to raise a beautiful, independent, intelligent young woman. And that wakes me up. So find that one thing. Find one thing that you can think of, a good reason to get up out of bed. Get up out of bed and set a short-term and a long-term goal for yourself. And once you set a short-term and a long-term goal for yourself, really, really try everything in your power to get that goal done. And have accountability partners. You know, like by being like, oh, hey guys, there's a video coming tomorrow. Now I'm like, oh, there's a video coming tomorrow. So, you know, like the video that I'm working at, I'm like, I want this to be perfect. You know, not even, you know, nothing can be perfect, but you know, as perfect as it can be. And so then that's when I'm like, gotta do this. So dig deep, look at your heart, look inside of your heart, deep inside your heart, deep inside of your mind, and truly, truly find something to wake up and to be happy to wake up, and embrace that change, embrace that process, because that process is going to allow you to be so humble. And the results are going to be so beautiful that you're going to appreciate the results, but you're going to appreciate how you got there. A lot of mathematicians, they say a lot of the work is in how you get to that answer, because there have been so many different people that can get to one answer. But if you can't tell me how you got there, you can't tell me the process, you don't truly comprehend it, is it really a solution? So I really love that idea. The idea that is not a problem stays a problem, or a thought stays a thought stays a problem if there's no solution. A solution becomes a solution once you've had a plan and you've thought about it. And so I really, really love that idea. And coming up with the solution, normally, it goes hand in hand with changing. Because if you're looking at a situation and you're just like, what exactly do I need to do to make the situation better? And you just keep trying to use what you already have, that might be awesome, but you might have to alter what you already have in a different way. That's change. You might have to completely move yourself from that spot and move to another spot to figure out what best works for yourself. I will have different videos, you know, about this topic and about other topics. So I really hope that you're getting something out of this, even if it's just one word, one sentence, even if my smile or my voice can be soothing to you. I wish that I can reach out and hug you and just say it's going to be okay. If those who need to be encouraged, stay encouraged. Wake up, because you know what? There's nobody else like you in this world. If you look in the mirror and you're looking and you're not happy, change that. Because guess what? Mistakes, you were not a mistake, and no mistakes were making when you no mistakes were made when you were made. So love yourself and appreciate change, because change can put us in such an uncomfortable position, but then it allows you to think, wow, I've changed, and I'm so happy. I'm so appreciative of the fact that I can recognize that this is happening and I can change it. One last thing, and then, you know, we'll leave, because I don't want this to be a long video. When I was in school, it took me 7 years to graduate with my bachelor's, and I remember graduating and being so excited and a little bit embarrassed, because there were so many different people that I saw from my class that graduated with me that had, you know, graduated, or people that were younger than me that graduated, and people had these stellar opportunities and everything, and I just was so defeated, you know, but I was happy at the same time. This was on graduation day. And I looked behind me, and there stood this older lady her head was full of gray hair. She was so excited. She was beaming. And she's like, I told my grandchildren that I could do it, and so I did it. So she changed herself, everything. Can you imagine being at such an, you're older, so it's harder to learn things when you're older. But she decided that I'm going to change my situation, be uncomfortable, be that person that people looked at like, oh wow, she's older, or she's this or that, and change your situation. Sorry, that's my speaker. But I would just like to encourage you. That's what happened with me. I was like, you know what? I held my head up high and I'm like, I did this. I changed my situation, and I made my situation better. Whatever it is that you want to do that you believe is going to change your life, do it. Wake up. Stand up right now. Make a plan. Get a pencil and paper. Write it down. Make it plain. Put it so close to yourself so that when you wake up, that's the first thing that you see, and when you go to bed, that's the last thing that you see. Okay? So I hope that you guys like this video. This video is probably a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed. The lighting is probably a little bit different, but I wanted this environment to be a little bit different because I wanted you to take this message a little bit different. Every message that I give you is going to be a little bit different. Again, I'm not an expert. Lord knows I'm not an expert, but what I can do is explore and tell you what I have learned and what I perceive could help you. Okay, so like, comment, and subscribe. Decadent Divas out. Decadent Divas out. Decadent Divas out. Decadent Divas out.